Hi, I'm Shannon Cyr, and I am the relationship coach for men. And I'm glad you're here. You know, I can't tell you how many times I hear from people that say that they want to work on their marriage, or they are working on their marriage, or I'm really trying to work on my marriage, right? And they just don't really know what else they can do. And maybe you're thinking about working on your marriage. So today I want to talk to you about what that could look like and how you can really set yourself up for success. So first, I want to talk about what people typically do and why it doesn't really work. You know, when we say we're working on our marriage, this usually looks like two people that decide they're going to be nice to each other. You know, we usually tell our partners we're going to try harder. And so we start. We try to listen more. We try not to fight. We try to do more things, right? And it isn't that this is wrong. It's just that it isn't enough. If you're already in a relationship with someone and you're not being nice, how much interest are they going to have in being in a relationship with you? If you're already not being nice, why is your partner going to want to stay married to you? How can you expect to have a close, intimate relationship with your partner? If the marriage is in trouble and you've said you're going to work on it and you start to do more things, that's okay. It isn't bad. Those acts of service, as they're called, aren't negative. It's not an unloving thing to do. And it certainly isn't going to do any damage, but it's not going to bring you closer together either. It's not going to change your spouse's heart. You know, doing the dishes without being asked, it's not going to make them want to be closer to you, and it's not going to make you feel any closer to them. So when you're at that stage where you're seeking out answers on how to fix your marriage, acts of service just really aren't enough. Working on your marriage is not just being nice and doing more. That's not really getting serious about working on it. So think of it like weight loss and dieting. Maybe you want to lose 20 pounds. So what do you do to ensure that you're going to have the best chance at success? You can decide that you're going to try harder, choose more nutritional foods, and move your body more. Or you can seek out an expert to help you reach your goals. So what's the difference, right? When we decide that we're going to do it on our own, you know, we start out with the best of intentions, right? You know, we research a diet plan, we get things all lined up, and we really get started on that path to, you know, losing weight. And maybe we stick with it for a few weeks or maybe even a month or two. It's kind of slow going and we don't see a whole lot of change in the time that we would really like, and we become frustrated. So little by little, we kind of start to let things slide, and before we know it, nothing much has really changed, right? Now, when we seek out an expert to help us, the outcome is typically a little bit different. We find somebody who's qualified, and then they put a framework around what our diet plan is going to look like. They show us, you know, what our best practices are going to be for us to reach our goal. So what foods we're going to eat, how much we're going to eat, how we can best move our body to get the desired results, how many days we're going to do those things, right? So when you get really serious about achieving a goal, you don't just talk about it or say, oh, I'm working on that. When you get serious about it, you put a structure around it, a program of some kind, right? So it doesn't have to look any one way. It could be structured by me, of course, a therapist, a counselor. It could even be structured by you. You could decide, you know, this is what it's going to look like, and then start filling in that framework for yourself. Maybe you decide that you're going to watch a YouTube video every day on relationships. Or maybe you're going to read a new relationship book every month and really start applying what you're learning. There's lots of ways and lots of paths, right? You can find an expert, or you can create your own program. Now, obviously, one is going to get you there probably a lot faster than the other, but you still can get results. The other thing that you need is accountability. Now, obviously, when you're working with a coach or a therapist, they hold you accountable. They monitor your success as you go, right? And so we kind of know up front that they're going to be doing this. So we try harder, we really stick to it. We keep practicing all the new skills that they're showing us and giving us. So even if we're doing it on our own, we need to hold ourselves accountable, right? So maybe you have accountability between one another. And at the end of the week, you decide that you're going to check in with each other. So let's say one week you decided, this week we're going to work on being more affectionate with one another. And then the week goes by and you check in and you ask, okay, you know, how are we doing on that? And you have a discussion around that, right? So if you genuinely want to work on your marriage, don't just say, I'm going to work on it. I'm going to be nicer. I'm going to do more things. Although these are good things to do, they're just not going to pull your marriage out of trouble on their own. And it's going to be really slow going. And when it's slow going, that's the exact time that it's so easy to fall back into the same old patterns. So, you know, go back to the diet example. How many of us have started a diet and then a month or two later we're off the diet and we're pretty much back to eating the way we were before? Probably a lot of us, right? So to avoid that and truly create change, we have to create new habits. And without structure around creating those new habits, we're going to just fall back into the way that it was. And this is how many of us lose a few pounds and then gain it back, right? Because we don't really create those new habits. So our relationship is the same. You might get the relationship to a place where it feels a little bit better, but then, you know, a few months later, it doesn't. You're back in that same sort of pattern. You're engaging and interacting with each other just like you used to, because you're not on guard anymore, right? You're not on your best behavior. You aren't really focusing on it and paying attention. You don't really have that, structure in place. You don't really have that accountability in place to create that lasting change. And so the cycle just kind of begins to repeat itself. If you'd like to find out how you can work on your marriage and not end up repeating the same cycle, I invite you to schedule a complimentary exploratory session with me and see if there's a good fit for us to work together. I hope that this video was helpful for you. And if you like what you hear on this channel, please subscribe by clicking the bell in the upper right corner. All my best.